the real point in which we want to look for a kind of a change of pace, right, is after the next flu season, right? Because this thing's not going to be over just because we go through it this year, right? We've still got to phase this thing out, and Rahu has to go through Rohini, and Rohini is ruled by the moon, right? So Rohini, right, in the sign of the moon does fairly well, right? But for it to eradicate something or to remove something altogether, Rohini is a very passive nakshatra, right? It doesn't literally move or allow things to change shape or be destroyed. It just calms things down long enough where you can think, you can reason, right? Where the virulent energy is not so prevalent on a death-like level, right? Finally, when we leave out of that phase, and we will leave out of that phase as of October 5th of 2021. Now, that is going to simultaneously hit with another flu season. So this, at this time, by then, we will have a good bead and control on COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And Rahu will move into a very specific portion of Taurus called Kritika. Now, Kritika is where this will change, right? Now, yes, we have to go through the flu season. So October 5th, that is when we will begin to see that when the new flu season hits, it will not be like this flu season where we'll be overrun. We'll have more control. We'll have more information. We'll have more experience. We'll have more things to control it and to deal with it. When
Yeah.
we come out of that phase, that is going to take us into the next layer. Now, there's 4 padas in each of the nakshatras, right? And Rohi, well, Mrigashira has 4 padas, Rohini has 4 padas, and Kritika has 4 padas.
Mm-hmm.
It will hit the first pada as of October 5th, 2021. It
Yeah.
has to move through the Piscean pada, right? Because it moves backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Piscean pada will not destroy it, right? It will allow us to deal with it on a massive global level, but it will not completely destroy it. We'll have a global network of how things do, a global network of how things are done. There's protocols that will be in place that will all be shared, and that will be literally allow us to put things into proper perspective. The next pada is Aquarius, right? That is where uh, the scientific teams and all those things were literally, I would say at that point, patent a strong, um, what you call a vaccine, if you will, that would literally be effective so that whenever whatever issue comes up with COVID again, or people can prepare for it in advance. Because that's what Aquarian energy does. It's the scientific part of the zodiac, right? Aquarius is literally the sign of sciences, along with Sagittarius, of course. Um, when it moves into the Capricorn pada, right? That is towards the beginning to the middle of 2022,
Mm-hmm.
right? When that happens, that is when literally at that point beginning will be between winter and spring. When winter and spring happen at that point on April 12th of 2022, that's when Rahu will move into Aries, and it will move into the Sagittarius pada of Kritika. Now, why do I say Kritika is the answer as far as the astrological timing is concerned? Because Kritika, right? Each one of these nakshatras has what we call an avatar or a deity that's associated with it, right? And the force or entity that governs Kritika is Agni,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Agni is the god of fire, right? So Agni, right, has some very specific traits to it. It has each one of these kind of has a Shakti, right, which is a power, and it also has it to where these two things are kind of like there's two things that kind of fit that come out and play a role in how the sign functions. So there's an above role, there's a below role, right? The above role or the above kind of essence of Kritika is heat, right? Which we already have heard in some form or fashion destroys, right, this virus. Right? So when the energy of Rahu passes through that zone, it literally is reduced, right? It's burnt, it's singed, right? The other aspect, which is on the below, so you have heat above and you have light below, right? And that light also is a contingent energy or zone, because these are zones, to destroy that Rahu type of virulence or issue. And that happens right when, and this is April 12th, the sun will move right into Aries simultaneously, or literally 3 days later on April 15th. So April 15th, we have Rahu in Aries and we have the sun in Aries, right? That is when, and that is the springtime. That is when we will have a definitive, right? Definitive way of dealing with it, addressing it, putting it into proper perspective. Everything will literally come together. And from that point on, COVID won't necessarily be history, but it'll be something that we deal with on a very um, uh, secondary or tertiary level.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
So we don't have far to go, but we definitely got to get through 2021. Right.
Yeah.
And 2021, you know, my concern of 2021 is the economy, right? Not less COVID, more economy, right? Because
Yeah.
remember, I told you we haven't even still seen the economy hit rock bottom yet. It's still fluxing.
No.
If we hit another fall like we had in the spring with the shutdown, which it seems that it may happen. And here's the thing: we have an election coming up, right? That election is going to be a game changer because whoever's in office, which we know who will be, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to do something to address or answer, right? Whatever's going on. And I
Mm-hmm.
would surmise shutdown, right? Not to
Yeah.
say, not to say in the way that we did originally, but it seems that that's the rhetoric that he's